Woolworths for fresh food people, with fresh ideas for you.
I'm pretty sure you know that jingle, and as you've probably guessed it, it's the jingle for the well-known company Woolworths. Woolworths is the organisation our team have chosen to analyse. This presentation starts with the story of Woolworths, and then we take a deep dive into the business's strategic objectives, performance, and also providing an evaluation of their successes. This presentation concludes with recommendations for Woolworths' future strategy. The Woolworths story is unique, and it starts back in 1924 when they opened their first retail store in Sydney in the Imperial Arcade. From here, we see their strategic moves being made in response to their customer needs. It all starts in 1927 when they expanded their stores in response to customers' needs wanting stores all over Australia. And then in 1969, customers demanded quality products, and hence they launched their quality assurance program. In 1973, customers wanted affordable products, and then they launched their own brand. In 1987, they changed their name to Fresh Food People to encapsulate the products that they sold were fresh and locally sourced. And lastly, in 2010, they then launched their own macro brand, which is products that are full of nutrients and are healthy for the everyday Australians. Again, another requirement that the customers wanted. Woolworths' vision and mission statement is focused on three main pillars. The first one is the people, the second, the planet, and the third, building prosperity. When it comes to their people, they want to encourage diversity, and they're doing this through addressing gender equality, reducing the wage gap, increasing females in senior positions, and advocating for Indigenous employment opportunities across their organisation. When it comes to the planet, they want to ensure it's a healthy one. So they're doing this through building a circular economy, sourcing sustainable products, and reducing their ecological footprint on the environment. And when it comes to building prosperity, they're doing this through trusted relationships and building strategic partnerships in the community. We see this through their partnership with OzHarvest and also through the Salvation Army. The last initiative is creating shared value, which is a concept where they as an organisation will find ways to help address different social issues in the community.
Thanks, Jess. I will now be discussing the external analysis of Woolworths, which can affect the firm's strategic actions and is critical to ensuring the continued and future success of the organisation. The pestle analysis is designed to identify the macro environment influencing an organisation, standing for the political, economic, social, technological, legal and environmental factors respectively. This model has been used primarily as it allows a firm to identify, monitor and respond to changes in the environment, and hence differentiate from rivaling organisations to create strategic competitive advantage. This table demonstrates some key examples within each environment, and I will now briefly detail factors specific to Woolworths. The largest political pressure on the Australian grocery market is the duopoly nature of both Woolworths and Coles. Australian competition law is therefore being reviewed and will be applied to Woolworths as to not undermine new entrant business models. The economic growth environment external to Woolworths can directly influence their performance and pricing, and furthermore impacts purchasing power and product supply and demand rates. Next, social trends and lifestyle attitudes of relevant demographic groups are key in remaining competitive throughout highly influential social media fads. Technological advancements are also ever-changing and therefore must be highly current as to compete with potential online competitors such as Amazon Fresh. Legally, the organisation must adhere to the Food and Grocery Code under the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. And finally, the environmental analysis must consider climate change and sourcing products ethically to satisfy the prevalent and environmentally conscious green consumers. The Porter's 5 Forces analysis allows the identification of competitive forces that shape an industry. This model has been chosen as it is highly useful in determining the organisation's strengths, weaknesses, and corporate strategy to heighten competitive advantage. The image on screen depicts key factors within each of the 5 forces. Woolworths has key competitors in the industry, including Coles, Aldi, and IGA. Due to these existing competitors, the threat of substitute products is moderate to high, which must be monitored through ensuring the satisfaction of their customers and by maintaining their relationships with suppliers. The threat of new entrants is moderate, with Aldi having recently proved the ability to successfully enter the industry. Amazon Fresh and Kaufland also remain on the horizon. Buyers have high bargaining power when there are several alternatives to opt for and switch to, indicating Woolworths must keep strategic advantages such as their rewards loyalty program to drive down the consumer power. Finally, the bargaining power of suppliers is also high, while they begin to fight back against the long-term and non-sustainable low-price policies of the major retailers. I will now hand over to Michelle for the internal analysis.
Thank you, Sabrina, for those very interesting insights. Now it's time to move on to the internal environment. For this, we have chosen to use the Vero framework. Vero is an excellent way to identify which existing resources, capabilities, and competencies can then be used to develop an effective strategy. SWOT analysis is a good starting point, as this way you can choose the main areas to focus the Vero framework analysis on. We have chosen to focus on the 4 areas of brand, supply chain, online presence, and customer value service. The Woolworths brand, and as Jessica mentioned earlier, especially the slogan, "The Fresh Food People," is well known and respected throughout Australia, and Woolworths' most valuable asset. The reason Woolworths enjoys a sustained competitive advantage against its competitors can be attributed to the use of the green, which creates feelings of positivity and being ecologically friendly, whereas the Apple logo fosters that freshness feeling. Although the supply chain is an essential part of the grocery business and has many benefits such as adding value, keeping costs down, and increasing profit, Woolworths at best can only maintain competitive parity, as its closest competitor, Coles, also has a highly effective and efficient supply chain. To gain any competitive advantage, this is an area where Woolworths should allocate enough time to find ways to improve. Continuing to source produce locally is one such way. Although customers are generally more satisfied with shopping online with Woolworths as opposed to Coles, there is still plenty of room for improvement. The convenience and time saved in doing your shopping online, a younger, more tech-savvy customer expect more from their online experience. To meet this ever-growing population, Woolworths needs to continue to innovate and perhaps try to make the online experience like that of a real store. This will give Woolworths a competitive edge over its competitors. Research has shown customers are drawn to and are more trusting of firms who have a long history and heritage within the industry. To maintain a competitive advantage in the area of customer value and service, Woolworths needs to exploit its intangible resource of history and heritage as a grocer. Maintaining high levels of staff morale and providing better customer service than its competitors, Woolworths can use the customer experience to differentiate themselves and keep customers coming back. I'll leave you with a favourite quote of mine from Richard Branson. Clients do not come first, employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of the clients. We have chosen the Carroll's Pyramid model as it fits in really well with the Doing the Right Thing strategy launched by Woolworths in 2007. And the continued significant investment of resources into Woolworths' CSR programs. As can be seen on this slide, Woolworths generally shows a hefty profit after tax, with the exception of major losses experienced in 2016. This was, of course, due to Woolworths investing in Masters. Profits were again experienced once Woolworths exited from the home improvement business.
Thank you, Michelle, for your internal environment analysis. Now that Woolworths' external and internal environments have been presented, we transition to analysing these together with other key elements of Woolworths' business strategy. This will be facilitated using gap analysis. Multiple gap analyses have been performed across the business to examine critical details of how the business is currently performing and allow for comparison of where the business wants to be in the future. This table here shows the gap analysis performed for Woolworths on the industry environment. This analysis enables us to identify the opportunities and threats present and if the business strategy meets the environment. Woolworths, being an industry leader, has a business strategy that is consistent, however, they are not immune to the threats presented by new entrants and substitutes, and they need to take advantage of the opportunities to ensure that they remain leaders. Competitor gap analysis are used to assess a business position in a market against competitors. As depicted on this slide, both Woolworths and Coles act as the benchmark for industries looking to enter the Australian grocery market. Woolworths is ahead of all of its current competitors, however rival Coles is not far behind. How Woolworths can widen the gap between rival Coles is where we'll base our recommendations. Here we can see opportunities in both technological and service performance areas. Here we look at the organisation performance gap analysis, which looks at the level of performance against business strategy. This is done by looking at the goals of the business and comparing with its current state. This table shows positive movement towards Woolworths' goals. In particular, their investment in providing a more connected, personalised and convenient shopping experience, and by doing this by investing in online improvements and innovation. Differentiation is also key for Woolworths' business strategy, and opportunities here will be discussed by Karen in the next few slides.
Thank you, Jess, Sabrina, Michelle and Rebecca for your insights and fascinating analysis of Woolworths, which now brings us to the presentation's conclusion and strategic recommendations. Woolworths operates in a competitive market, but is currently the most popular of all the competitors in the grocery industry. By studying the internal and external environments, it has been established that Woolworths cannot take its dominant position for granted. Woolworths should position itself for the future by planning for changes in the way consumers do their grocery shopping. The following recommendations are not intended to be an exhaustive list, but rather a starting point for the changing requirements of customers who purchase from Woolworths. Woolworths offers a similar product to its rivals, so is therefore recommended to differentiate itself by offering a range of meal kits. It is recommended that Woolworths offer more variety and flexibility than currently available in the market. To further insulate itself from its competitors, it is recommended that Woolworths adopt a focused differentiation strategy and offer a range of products based on sustainable and ethically sourced ingredients. This is more than an organic product, but rather should be incorporated through the whole supply chain. And finally, it is recommended that due to the increasing demand for convenience and time-saving options for their customers, Woolworths should investigate the possibility of offering free delivery on all home delivery orders, regardless of the price of the order. Thank you for your time, Campbell, and we hope you enjoy listening to this presentation as much as we have enjoyed preparing it.